Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. We are so excited to have you here. We are going to get into all the details about the latest updates to the Esri developer experience here in a minute. Now, before we dive in, I do want to acknowledge some of our audience here. We've got a few people already sharing where they're from. We've got someone in Tyson's Corner. That is the RG Cat. And then we've also got Paul from Seattle. So thank you guys. Awesome. It's so great to see people joining us from, around even just the US here, but I'm sure we have others around the world. So thank you. Now, before we jump into it, I am joined today by some amazing folks from Esri Leadership, and we're going to all be introducing ourselves. We're going to be sharing information about ourselves, and then also the most memorable concert or live event that we've attended. And so we would also love to hear from you guys in the chat what your most memorable concert that you've attended is as well. So cool. All right. We've got someone from Fort Collins, Colorado as well. Feasting for Victoria. Cool. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to start things off. I'm Courtney, and I am a developer advocate on Esri's developer experience team. And I live in Alexandria, Virginia, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. And although I do love music, I will say I'm not a huge concert goer. I can actually count on like two hands how many concerts I've been to. But I did go to one very memorable one back in 2010. I went to a concert that was a part of Lady Gaga's Monster Ball tour, and it's pretty fantastic. It was like the iconic time of Poker Face, Bad Romance, and the energy was great. So. Cool. All right. Now we're going to hear from our speakers. Ewan, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Courtney. Morning, everybody. My name's Ewan Cameron, CTO at Esri, responsible for our developer technology. And it's a pleasure to be here to share some of the team's latest work with you. I live in Mammoth Lakes in California, up in the Sierra Nevada mountains at 8,000 feet. So nice clear air, although it's still quite warm with the heat that we've got coming over the southwest here in the States at the moment. My most memorable concert, I think, was probably my very first one, which was Susie and the Banshees in 1981, Perth City Hall. And that was, I couldn't believe really how much energy people on stage could sort of command from everybody in the hall. And a few hundred of us were going kind of crazy as we were dancing to songs like Spellbound and Happy House and things like that. So yeah, Susie and the Banshees, still a great band, still one of my favorites. Perfect. So John, I think it's time I'll pass over to you.
Hey everybody, thanks Ewan. So hey, I'm John Foster. I help lead the developer experience team, the team that brings you the developer website and the documentation, a lot of things around our developer tooling. And I try to help make your job easier using our developer technology. I'm based in Redlands, but I'm actually a misplaced New Yorker. So when I joined Esri, I decided to relocate to Southern California. I enjoy the weather very much. It's very nice to have warm and not to have to deal with the snow all the time. So I like that. And then regarding music, I would say one of the most memorable concerts I ever attended was I saw Buddy Rich live in New York at the Bottom Line way back in the early 80s. And his concert, his command of the audience and the band and the way he played and the energy that was coming off that stage was just incredible. And it completely changed my whole perspective on jazz music and performance as well. So that was really left a big impression on me. So that's it for me. I'll hand it off to Alan. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, John. Hey everyone. Yeah, those are good. Those are good ones. All of those are great ones. So Alan Cassidy here. I'm the lead product manager for ArcGIS Location Platform. Based in Redlands, been in Redlands for a while and mostly Southern California. I'm kind of a Southern California guy, if you will. Most memorable, it's near impossible to pick one. So I'm going to talk about two, I think, that were most memorable. Fugazi. So Fugazi, important band in the early 90s in an auditorium, and that was an unbelievable show. The energy was crazy. And then a second one in the early 2000s, I'm kind of dating myself here as well, Radiohead. Radiohead, one of my all-time favorites at the Hollywood Bowl, which is one of their favorite venues and just an incredible venue to see anyone, I think, let alone someone like Radiohead. So Susie and the Banshees, that's a great one. John, yours is great. Courtney's, yeah, these are good. These are good. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining today.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I will say the only one I know out of all those is Radiohead. So I have some music catching up to do here.
That's great recommendations right there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and check out the chat. Let's see. We've got a few other people telling us where they're from. We've got Diero, I believe, from Colombia. Let's see. And then we've got someone, Feasting Victoria says, nice stories for me equals Hotel California tour in 1977. Heck yeah. All right. And then Raul is joining from Almeria, Spain, and he's in the backstage. Cool. And the most memorable concert for him is Skrillex. Yes, I know who that is too. Cool. And we've got Miles from the UK. Perfect. All right. Thank you guys. Do keep it going in the chat in terms of like if you have any questions or comments, feedback you want to leave us, because we're going to be going through a lot of very important updates and new things to the Esri developer experience. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Ewan to dive right in. Ewan, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Developers have always been important to Esri. We've always had a strong developer presence sitting on top of our technology, and we've got a great history and track record with our GIS developers. And what we've really seen over the last few years is that the number of developers using ArcGIS has been growing exponentially. And some of that growth is driven by GIS developers, just more of you. But a lot of that growth is driven by sort of non-traditional GIS developers, just developers that want to pull in maps and location information into their apps. And it's not just to support GIS workflows, but to support all sorts of business use cases where location can improve the solution that you're building towards. And so because of that, we've really taken a step back and really thought about the developer experience that we need to build to support all these different developer use cases, all these different types of developers coming to the platform and starting to work with our technology. And so about a year and a half ago, the team really wanted to reimagine the experience that they wanted to build and share with you all. And so the project started, and it culminated with a release a couple of weeks ago of the new Esri developers website, which is the evolution of the ArcGIS developers website, as well as a brand new website for ArcGIS Location Platform. And so I think it's great to be with you this morning to really share with you some of the thinking and the ideas that have gone into the evolution of the location platform product, but also the evolution of the developer experience for ArcGIS developers and developers working with our technology. So with that, I would like to pass it back to Courtney, I think, and we're going to take a step through some of the changes and highlight some of the key things that as developers working with our system, you should probably know about. So Courtney, back to you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Ewan. Yeah, it's very inspiring to see all of the new changes that are coming, and everything is just constantly growing for, well, the better. We're improving things for you all as developers. All right, so we're going to go ahead and head over to John, who's going to talk more details. Here we go.
All right, thanks, Courtney, and thanks, Ewan. So I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second here to set that up. All right, thanks. So just continuing what Ewan was just talking about is that we've got these different developer personas that we need to have good documentation for and help their developer journey, as well as different developer use cases. So as we were getting feedback from our developer audience, from you guys and the feedback that you provide us, we get a lot of feedback that things are really complicated. Can we simplify? And that's really part of what we try to do. So this new developer experience that we're showing you today is taking that feedback, trying to simplify our developer offering. We're trying to appeal to many different developer personas. And then we have the added complexity of articulating this developer technology across the entire Esri product line. So most of Esri's products have developer opportunities built into them with APIs, developer tools, other things that you could use in your developer experience. But we've got different capabilities for different personas of developer. If you're a developer using our location services a la carte, you've got a certain set of needs and requirements. If you're a GIS developer building applications for your organization, you have a different set of requirements. If you're a DevOps engineer and you're deploying code, infrastructure as code with ArcGIS Enterprise or some of our other tools, you've got a different set of requirements. So how are we going to accommodate all these different requirements and different developer personas and different opportunities in a single website? And that's what we're trying to do now with this redesign. So let me just walk you through this. And the first thing you're going to notice is that we've rebranded the website as Esri Developer. And the reason for that is that we want to leverage the great opportunities that Esri provides, and we want to make sure that you understand that this applies to all Esri developer products across the board. Okay, and then there's lots of different features and capabilities in the developer experience. So in order to expose all of that to you in a simple way, we redesigned our navigation menu. So first up, we wanted to articulate all the available features that are at your disposal as a developer. And you can see there's quite a long list of things. We've got location services that you could access as a developer. We've got mapping technology, maps and 3D scenes. There's also managing your portal and the content and users that are in your portal. And that's a different set of concerns, possibly for a different set of developers. And then there's preparing data in your GIS, getting that ready for your application, optimizing it, making it performant, styling it, and making it work well for your application. So bringing data into the platform and hosting it with our hosting technology and our security model and visualizing it in your application, all these different capabilities. So with this new super menu structure that we have here, you could see that we've percolated to the top the most important topics of that particular capability. Here in data hosting, there's introduction, how to work with it, import data, etc. So we got quick links to all the most important topics. And then also, just as important, we give you quick links to all of the tutorials that you might want to use to get started with that particular capability, to learn more about it. And you can see we've got different chips for each different SDK and API that's supported by that. And I'll cover that in just another minute or two. All right, so we've got all these different capabilities, and we've reorganized this into a structure that we think will appeal to the different developer personas. All right, so next up, we have a wide range of different SDKs and APIs that you could use for your development. All right, so we renamed the Maps SDKs about a year ago, so all the Maps SDKs are listed here. That includes JavaScript for building web apps, the native APIs for building native desktop mobile applications, and the game engines, Unity and Unreal. There's also all of our service APIs. So if you want to get access to the location services or the backend services directly using REST or lower level APIs, we have all of those documented here. Also, if you're scripting, you want to use Python to manage your organization or your data. We also have opportunities with REST APIs and ArcGIS REST.js, our open source REST wrapper. And then if you're extending ArcGIS, there's quick access to our SDKs and low-code builders. And if you're using open source libraries, the open source libraries with integrations that we support with full, robust documentation are provided here. All right, and then another new section of the website is the different foundational products that you can develop with. So this is a whole new area that we never really documented before, and we wanted to take advantage of that because now with the foundation products and the developer opportunities, they appeal to different types of developers. So depending upon the product that you're using as your backend, you might be using a location platform for services a la carte that you're putting in an application. You might be building an application for your GIS organization using Esri's cloud services with ArcGIS Online, or similar with your on-site enterprise or extending ArcGIS Pro. So just really quickly to take a look at one of these sections look like. So here with using ArcGIS Online, a quick explanation as to what the product is, and then we cover what all the developer opportunities are. So using the WebGIS model in your application, web maps and web scenes, using the arcade scripting language to improve your services, using the low-code and no-code builder apps like instant apps or story maps in your application, and so on. This is all the things that you could do with ArcGIS Online. Some other things I'll just bring to your attention is another new thing that we have on the developer website is this announcement bar. So this is new. We've had feedback in the past that developers want to know, hey, what's the latest thing? What's new? What can I draw my attention to? And we've added this very timely announcements bar where you can see all the things. So right now, since we've launched the new developer experience, that's front and center. And then we'll update this as we go along. All right, the next part of the developer experience that's seen radical change in this latest update is our developer guides. Those of you who are familiar with our developer technology in the past, we had one developer guide previously. It was called the Mapping and APIs and Location Services Guide, and we jammed everything in there. And then we realized from your feedback and from our own use of the system that it wasn't a very scalable documentation presentation to put everything in a single guide, because a lot of these things don't have that much to do with each other. So what we did was we broke everything out and we separated just the individual location services into a separate guide. And then we made separate guides for developers working with portal and data services, developers who are doing spatial analysis, offline mapping applications. And then all of these different capabilities all depend on our security model. So we percolated security and authentication up to the top as kind of a top-level guide that developers would use regardless of the technology that they're using. It's all covered in there. So just quickly looking at what one of these guides look like, you'll see that we have a new structure for our table of contents, and we've mapped the same architecture across all the different guides so that as you navigate through our documentation, you see the same UI user experience design patterns over and over again. That makes the site much more efficient for you to work through. All right, so we've revamped all the Get Started guides, and then part of the Get Started guide will explain what type of account or what kind of foundational product are you using that this applies to. So this is also new, that in order for us to cater to developers using different products, different foundation products, we have to ask you which type of account are you going to be developing with, and that may lead you down a different path. And then there's documentation that helps explain if you don't know, will help you learn which product you can use, and so on. And then with all these different developer guides, we've got robust tutorials that explain how to use each capability, and then we iterate through all the various services that are available to you, and then we provide additional reference documentation. And then another new thing that I want to point out that we added, and you'll see this across many of the documentation pages, is our product support notes. So as we're catering to all the different developer personas, when you land on a page, you need to know if this page applies to you based on the foundation product that you're developing with. So we've added this new product support notes section that you'll see across the website, and it'll tell you which products are supported, or maybe some products are not supported, or they may have partial support where you can't do all the capabilities we're talking about, and you have to look at them individually. And then on some pages, you'll see some additional details. And then finally, one additional thing I just want to point out on this is that on every page, we have a feedback system. So if the page if you found it helpful, you can let us know. If you didn't find it helpful and you want to report a bug, or you're just like, hey, this documentation doesn't work for me, just let us know. These feedbacks come directly to us, and we read every single one of them. So we definitely would love to hear from you. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is just the reorganization of the security and authentication chapter in the developer guide. So this is really important because it applies to all developers. And security is definitely a primary concern of everything that we do with ArcGIS and at Esri. So we want to make sure you have all the tools you need to build secure, robust applications. So security and API keys and user authentication, it's capabilities that we've always had. But what we've done is we've reorganized this documentation such that it applies better to the different foundational products and the different developer personas, and what different types of authentication you might be using based on your particular use case. So user authentication is mostly the same as it's been. This is when you want to log users in, and users are going to use your app on their behalf. We also have application authentication, where you could assign an application or register an application, and then you could use authentication that way and get a short-lived token that you would then have to refresh in order to continue using your application. But what's completely new is API key authentication. So we've re-engineered API keys from the ground up. We wanted to make them much more performant so that queries that require authentication, which is pretty much everything, they act and respond much faster now, and API keys are much more secure in this new model. So there's some differences in the new model, such as API keys have a mandatory expiration date, and they have a wider set of privileges than what you saw in the past. I'm not going to go too much further into this. We have a separate live stream dedicated completely to security authentication coming up later, and I'm sure Courtney will list those future live streams, so you can take a look at that in the future. All right. Next up, part of the developer experience is that we've deprecated the developer account. So why did we do this? So we wanted to make the system simpler for all developers, and we wanted the whole system to make sense. And the feedback that we were getting and the use patterns that we were seeing in the past was people were signing up for developer accounts when they already had ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise, and they didn't really need it. So there was some confusion around how we positioned the developer account and the developer subscription. And we changed all that with this recent update. So now all developer subscriptions have been migrated to ArcGIS Location Platform accounts. So if you had a developer account in the past, you now have a Location Platform subscription. And in just a few minutes, Alan is going to cover in much more detail ArcGIS Location Platform, so I won't go too much into that detail. But the other thing to know about this particular migration is that if you did have a dev and test org, if you're using our developer and test organization, that also has been migrated. So you didn't lose it. It didn't like deprecate and go away. It's just basically migrated to a full-blown ArcGIS Online organization. That is where you would do your development and testing if you were doing that. And you would continue to use that as a developer with your regular user types that you get with ArcGIS Online, or however you want to do that. But together with all of that is that we introduced a new developer bundle. So the developer bundle is the software tooling that you would get if you wanted to extend ArcGIS. If you're using Enterprise, you're using Enterprise extensions. If you were working with Pro and Enterprise together, that was the software that you were getting in the past and why you needed the dev and test org in the first place. So now you can purchase the developer bundle separately. It's available in the Esri store on esri.com. You go to the Esri store and you could buy a developer bundle, and it includes an absolute ton of software. I mean, look at all the things you get. You basically get the entire enterprise stack. You get a full coverage of various user types, and you could do all the development necessary to build extensions to ArcGIS Enterprise or build new services and use these extensions. And the other cool thing that you get with the developer bundle is you get a pass to Esri's Developer Summit. That comes included for one developer to attend the developer summit. All right, so in closing, there's a blog article that we put up on Esri's blog, and I'll just draw your attention to that blog article because it covers everything I just talked about. So it talks about all the various topics about the new credentials experience, the new organization of the developer guides, the new developer experience, and the migration of the developer accounts and the new developer bundle. So that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to show you guys today. I hope that was helpful, and thanks.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, John. Lots of new information there. So I'm checking out the chat over here. It looks like we do have a question from Myra. Let's see. So it says, can I still access my dev and test with the same credentials, but now using the sign-in for ArcGIS Location Platform?
No, you would use your same credentials that you have for your existing accounts, but you would use ArcGIS Online. You really wouldn't need ArcGIS Location Platform. Alan will cover more of this in just a few minutes, but if you're using services a la carte and you want to pay for services, on demand, basically as you use them, then Location Platform may make sense, but we'd have to look at your use case a little bit closer to understand. But if you already have user types, then you would just use those and use your organization to develop. And it would be much more efficient to do it that way.
Yeah,
Great.
all the user types that you got with your ArcGIS online dev and test org, they've all been migrated to full, as John said, to full-blown ArcGIS online user types. And when that org subscription ends, you can just renew them as you would any other ArcGIS online organization.
Exactly. And I'll point out one thing too. If they did create their account through developers.arcgis.com previously, then you would need to then go to location.arcgis.com to log in there. So, yeah.
Yeah, for your
Awesome.
developer subscription, for your
Exactly.
organization accounts, you would log into arcgis.com.
Perfect. We do have a few more questions. Let's see. So the next one, do you need the developer bundle in order to create ArcGIS server SOEs?
Well, you probably do. If you need to get a enterprise instance stood up in your development environment so that you can test your enterprise SDK and to develop with that, then you would need a developer bundle in that use case. It would depend. If you already have enterprise, you might be able to find a development opportunity there. But if you do not, then yes, you would need the developer bundle.
Okay. Let's see. Next one. Please clarify what someone with enterprise developer license should do now to get the same ability. Are there 3 bundles now, AGOL, Enterprise, and Pro, that replace enterprise license?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with the old developer subscription, we had 5 plans for the subscription. We had the Essentials, Builder, Professional, Premium, and Enterprise. And what we've done, the Builder plan effectively has gone away. The Essentials plan was what developers use to access Location Platform. So these accounts have all been migrated over to Location Platform accounts. But your Professional, Premium, and Enterprise, they've been collapsed into one offering, the Developer Bundle. So it greatly simplifies the story. If you're working with enterprise software, whether that's ArcGIS Pro or ArcGIS Enterprise, there's one product as a developer that you would purchase from Esri, and that's the Developer Bundle. It has everything that you need.
Great. Easier experience. Cool. All right. Can a developer bundle subscription be reassigned to another developer? If so, are there limits as to how often this can be done?
That's a good question. Well, you might have to look that up. But yeah, when you purchase developer bundle, all right, you'll get the license for it from the Esri store, and you would then assign it to a developer in your ArcGIS organization. Okay, so then yeah, you could unassign it and assign it to a different developer in your organization. So you could certainly do that. That's all part of the ArcGIS Online user interface with the licensing page.
Okay. So no limitations.
Not that I'm aware of. It's something we might have to check up on though, just to be sure.
Okay. Great. Got a couple more. Let's see. So with the dev and test migration, you mean is automatically migrated to do a regular ArcGIS Online entitlement, or do we need to manually migrate content to another organization?
It's already been migrated. So
Yeah.
anybody with the dev and test org, they now have an ArcGIS Online organization. All their data, all their content stays exactly the same. All their user types that they currently have, they got migrated as well. When their dev and test org subscription expires, they would just renew the user types that they want, using the standard process that ArcGIS Online user type renewals follows.
Perfect. All right. And one last question. Do I need the dev bundle to create pro add-ins?
Not necessarily.
Hmm.
You could purchase a user type that gives you access to one of the new user types that gives you access to ArcGIS Pro, GIS Professional, GIS Professional Plus, and you would get it. That would give you access to ArcGIS Pro, and with that you can use the SDK and build your add-ins. However, if you are doing work against ArcGIS Enterprise, you purchase the developer bundle. That will give you a copy of ArcGIS Pro, so you don't need to buy anything in addition. But if you're only working against ArcGIS Pro, the user type is the more cost-effective way to go.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, I think we've answered all the questions. These are great questions. Keep them coming, guys. Thanks. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and move on to Alan, who's going to talk about ArcGIS Location Platform. So take it away.
Great, thanks, Courtney. And yeah, so both you and John highlighted some related changes to ArcGIS Location Platform. But before I dive into a little bit deeper, I'll just cover really what it is. I don't want to assume everyone knows exactly what Location Platform is. So ArcGIS Location Platform provides a set of mapping and location services to developers in a form they expect. It's got three core elements, if you will: the developer experience. Some of that John highlighted, giving you the best resources and access to our APIs and open source mapping libraries. The other pillar or key element is, of course, the location services themselves, this growing menu of location services, from base maps to geocoding, routing, geo-enrichment, places, data hosting, and then several spatial analysis services you can take advantage of as well. And that's an exciting area, and we continue to grow that. And I'll mention what we're working on there in a minute. The third part is the business model. Transparent, consumption-based business model. We have estimators on the product or the pricing site, how you can kind of estimate what your potential costs are going to be, which is a nice element of the new experience. And some other key things, that are important to call out about Location Platform. It's great for commercial or revenue generating applications or solutions. There's no additional licensing or authorization needed. And you can sign up for free, begin rapid testing using our free tiers that almost all the services have some allocation of monthly free usage. So we can enable you to get started. So those are some key aspects of what ArcGIS Location Platform is. And then Ewan mentioned it a little bit, but we had a big important release over the past few weeks. So, and a couple things related to it. So we have our new dedicated product experience and website that was launched. With the most recent launch of online, we also launched this new ArcGIS Location Platform website and product experience. And some of you might have noticed we introduced a name change too. So the product formerly known as ArcGIS Platform is now ArcGIS Location Platform. So that became official. We've talked about it a little bit at events, but that product name change became official at the time. And then a related element is, John covered this a little bit, but I'll highlight it. Developers using Location Platform services prior to this launch did use their developer account, and they went to the developer website and logged into a dashboard there. That's been pulled out and integrated into this dedicated product experience through this new Location Platform account type that I've been highlighting. So those are the recent big milestone, big important update we did related to Location Platform, and then that name change element. And then the final thing I wanted to highlight and talk about is some things that we're always excited about, which is some new things entering into beta phase. Over the coming weeks, we'll have 4 new services entering into beta, and we would love for you all to go into the early adopter community, test them out, tell us how they're working for you and what's maybe missing, help influence their future, basically. We look closely at every single interaction and all the feedback that comes through the early adopter community. I encourage you to check those out. Let me run through them really quick. Static basemap tiles service. So that's happening and entering into beta very soon. I think later this week, actually. This service essentially rasterizes our Esri vector basemaps on demand and gives you a PNG format. So this could be a good fit for developers that are targeting certain devices or know their user community, and maybe that type of base map just makes sense for you. Another service that's coming into beta is an elevation service. So the visualization analysis of Z values is really what it's all about. Supporting a lot of different use cases like terrain mapping and route planning and so on. We have batch geocoding. So this is a major update to our current geocoding offering, and it's designed for high performance, processing of large jobs, big files, and just ready to scale, highly performant batch geocoding. And then another one that's a kind of an extension, if you will, to our routing service, specifically the fleet routing service, is our last mile delivery, new service, last mile delivery. So that's another one that will be entering into beta as well. Think of it supporting organizations or needs around package delivery, or needing to get to that last mile in a delivery type of scenario, or to extend our current routing capabilities. So again, some new services, big milestone we just hit with our new dedicated product experience, and more to come from there, even beyond location platform. So yeah, Courtney, I think that's it for location platform update. Back to you.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Alan. So we have tons more questions coming through in the chat. So I'm going to have just all of us come back on screen, and whoever can answer if feels comfortable. So let's see. We've got the next question we have is regarding Pro and SOE questions. Do you need the products in question in order to build the code for the extensions, i.e. in order to generate the SOE file when compiling the Visual Studio project?
You need the SDK on your machine. You don't actually need the product on the physical machine that you're doing the development, but you need the SDK so you can compile the various binaries, which you then deploy to the machine that has the product on it. Most developers will have a local copy of the product so that they can do the development and test cycle very quickly.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next question. If you already have ArcGIS Enterprise, you don't need the bundle to start working with ArcGIS Enterprise SDK?
That's correct.
That's correct.
However, your DevOps people and your production people may not want you doing development on their production server. And that's where the developer bundle really comes in. So a full production environment for ArcGIS Online is potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. But for a much reduced cost, you can buy the developer bundle, and you can have that same system running on your development environment. And it's a much more robust environment to do your development in. But if you already have a copy of Enterprise, yes, you can do your development there if you want to.
Got it. All right, next question. Can an ArcGIS developer API key provide access to services that are shared into an ArcGIS Online org from an ArcGIS Enterprise deployment via a distributed collaboration by copy and by reference?
Well, the new versions of the API keys that John was talking about, one of the enhancements is that online developers can scope items that they have access to keys that they're creating. So if you have access to the items that are representing these entities, I see no reason why that shouldn't work. But it would be fair to say I don't think John and the team have run through that specific scenario. But that's an enhancement that was added. That was only previously available to ArcGIS platform developers.
Yeah, and I'll just add that we don't currently support API keys with ArcGIS Enterprise currently. So you would need an ArcGIS Online account or an ArcGIS platform, location platform account in order to set up your API key and grant those privileged accesses to that API key and then deploy it. But if you have ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Location Platform, then you could do that. But you can't do it with just Enterprise alone.
Great. All right, next question. Additionally, if you need ArcGIS Online for development and testing, you may purchase an ArcGIS Online Professional Plus user type subscription licenses. So this is all in quotes. The question is, it is not clear what is additional if developer bundle takes care of everything.
The developer bundle takes care of everything in terms of software. ArcGIS Enterprise, ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Online does not come with a developer bundle. So if you're an online developer, you would need an online user type to an organization in order to do your development. If you want to separate a developer and test environment of online from your production version of online, you would have your you'd have your production version of online, and then you'd also have your dev and test organization of online, and you would keep these two separate. But again, you don't need to do that. You could just use one of the user types available within your organization's online account, do your development there.
Cool. Okay, and I believe we have one last question. And do you need a bundle subscription to develop against Experience Builder, since you need to register an app with OAuth 2?
Yeah, the answer there is no, you don't need the developer bundle to develop with Experience Builder, but you do need an ArcGIS Online organization with at least a user in that organization to do the development work and deploy that application. And that's what you would need. So you don't need the developer bundle for that specific use case.
And ArcGIS Location Platform account, that will not give you a user type that you can develop with Experience Builder. It has to be ArcGIS Online.
Right.
Got it. And we actually did have another question. If we have 5 devs on our team and 2 have dev bundles, can I send any of the 5 to the UC, or only those who own subscriptions?
My understanding is it's the named users who own the subscription.
Okay, fair enough.
We might have to follow up on that one. So
I
I think it's who it's assigned to is who gets the registration pass.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, if you want to that commentary, you can always try to follow up with us later too in the comments. Okay. So, awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that is all of the comments, questions, and so let's see. One thing I want to do is we had a poll going for most of this live stream. It was which ArcGIS products are you developing with? So I'm going to go ahead and end that poll, and let's see the results here. Okay, and so it looks like out of 46 votes, we have 36% use ArcGIS Enterprise, 32% ArcGIS Online, and 19% use ArcGIS Location Platform. So nice. And I know that some of you probably are using more than one as well, I would assume. So cool. Okay, so before we finish up, there's one last fun thing I want to tell you guys about. I guess I could share my screen real quick to talk about it for a minute. Here it is. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who will be in San Diego next week, whether you're attending UC or not, you don't have to be attending. Next week on Wednesday, July 17th, we will be having this Esri Developer Social at the Marriott Marquis right by the Convention Center in San Diego. So you can join all of us. Other Esri employees, other Esri developers will be there. We'll have a fun time, fun evening of relaxing food and drinks. So yeah, come join us. All right.
Get to hang out by the pool. It's a lot of fun.
Exactly. Just try and stay out of the pool.
Stay out of the pool.
Yeah, don't fall in. Exactly. Yeah. And it won't be too, I don't know about where everyone else is coming from, but I was looking up the weather. It'll be much nicer than it is here on the East Coast. I'm dealing with like 100 plus Fahrenheit. So at least it'll be like 70s, so nice and mild.
Yeah, it'll be great to see people. If you can make it, definitely try and come along. It's a great social event.
For sure. Awesome. Let's see. And I think that's about it. Cool. I was just checking the chat one last time.
Yeah, we had a lot of really great questions. Thanks for your questions. They were really good.
Exactly. Yeah, that was awesome. And don't forget our next live stream coming up on July 25th. That will be all about the new Esri developer website that John, showed a bits of. We'll definitely be going a bit more of a deep dive into that. So cool. Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.